All right, this is BoxingWave. We're going to talk about this great fight we got coming up this weekend, this Saturday on ESPN. Scott Quigg, Oscar Valdez. Should be a great fight. They're fighting for Oscar Valdez title. I don't know which one. I forgot which one. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a WBO. But good fight this weekend. I think this is the best fight this weekend. I know Mikey Garcia and Sergey Limpinets is fighting, but I'm more hyped up for this fight. All right, I think this is a great matchup. And let's talk about it. Now, Oscar Valdez is coming off two really tough fights. I'm not sure if he's on the decline. I'm not really sure what it is, but I can't even say that he stepped up in opposition by fighting Genesis Savania and Miguel Mariaga. I don't think he stepped up because Oscar did fight Chris Avalos. He did fight Gradovich. And he looked extremely impressive in those fights. When you go back and look at the Ruben Tamayo fight, he looked like a much better boxer. But the last couple of fights, he's been doing nothing but loading up on huge, shots, and looping shots, leaving himself completely open, no defense. He's not setting anything up behind the jab. I don't know, it's just if you never watched Oscar Valdez fight before, and you watch him now, you would think he's just a complete slugger, But he's showcased very good boxing ability before. But in the last couple of fights, he's been looking like just a brawler, Like I said, he's loading up on every shot, He's not really being like a good boxer in there, And the defense has took a decline too, He's dropping his guard. He got knocked down by Genesis in the last fight where he was on the move and he didn't have his guard up and he got caught with a shot. I think he got caught with a right hand and went down. And even later in that same round, he got caught again because he was on the move and not, he didn't have his guard up, He won that fight, but, still, he's leaving himself. He's looked very vulnerable. But on the good side of that, you get into slugfest with two big punches like that, right? And he's been fighting nothing but tough fights, all right? And then you go and fight Scott Quigg. It's good preparation, because Scott Quigg is a big puncher himself. And Scott Quigg hasn't really fought the best opposition since he lost to Carl Frampton. I mean, leading up to Carl Frampton, he did stop Kiko Martinez, who was another pressure fighter. He stopped them in 2 rounds, so that was good. But outside of that, coming back, you had a broken jaw, come back, you fought a couple guys that weren't really that good, but you looked impressive. That's cool. But this is a huge step up in competition, since he fought Carl Frampton, so you have to really wonder, I believe that this fight is a toss-up. I mean, I'm rooting for Oscar Valdez because, I just like him. I'm more of a fan of his. But to be honest with you, I can't tell because he's left himself open so much in his last 2 fights. I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Quigg caught him with a shot and knocked him down, and stops him. I wouldn't be surprised. Look at the Kiko Martinez fight. I didn't listen. Especially the way that fight was going that early, I would have had no idea that Scott Quigg was going to stop him that early. Carl Frampton had 2 tough fights with Kiko Martinez back in the day, and for Quigg to stop him that quickly, it's hard to really call this one. It's hard to call this one. It's hard, But you have to really wonder what's up with Oscar Valdez, before he was such a good boxer. His boxing IQ was far superior than what it was in his last 2 fights. When he's fighting guys like Gradovich, who was coming forward and pressuring him, he looked real slick in there, with his jab. He's working behind his jab. He was, throwing more straight power shots and just wasn't winding up on looping shots over and over. Every shot he throw now, he's just loading up on every shot. He's not going to the body as much. He's just straight head hunting, and his defense is poor. His guard is down. Before, he was slicker. He was rolling punches off his shoulders better. The way he's been fighting in his last couple fights, he just looks like a regular slugger now, and it's good. He has great stamina. I mean, he does slow down, but he has great stamina because he could fight that way for an entire 12 rounds. But at the same time, he does get tired and he does drop his guard, and you have to wonder, is that going to be the opportunity for Scott Quigg to hit him with a tough shot? Scott Quigg is going to have that high guard. He's not as fancy looking as Oscar was. He's just going to come forward. He's going to have a high guard. He's going to shoot his jab, and he's going to work the body. And Scott Quigg is a great, great body puncher. He's a great body puncher. I personally think that's their game plan. They're going to come in and work Oscar's body, open him up top, and then land something big later in the fight. I think if Scott Quigg come in slow, starts working the body early, because I think Oscar definitely is going to be winning some of the earlier rounds. Scott Quigg seems to be tough. For him to fight Carl Frampton almost damn near the whole fight with a broken jaw, is a tough dude. He's a tough dude. I think he's been down once in his career, but he's a tough dude. He's proven that he has a pretty solid chin. So he should be able to take the shots from Oscar Valdez, but you never know, because Scott Quigg hasn't really prepared himself for a fight like this. He hasn't been in a war like with a big puncher. We know Carl Frampton has a big punch, but Carl Frampton was more of a boxer. He wasn't just loading up every single shot. I think Oscar Valdez needs to go back. If this fight was a couple years ago, I would have picked Oscar Valdez. I think Oscar Valdez was working behind his jab better, and he would sneak some of those power shots in. He had a better straight right hand. I think he would have beat Scott Quigg a couple years ago, but today, I really don't know. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. I think if Scott Quigg can take Oscar's power and bring him to deep waters, he can drop him later, midway or half, or the later rounds. I think he can drop Oscar, especially when he tires out a little bit. But Oscar might also be too much for Quigg, especially if Oscar goes back to the way he used to fight and start working behind the jab, because he still have a good jab, but he has to use it more, and he needs to start throwing more straight shots. He can't just keep throwing these looping shots, it becomes predictable, and you put everything, you load up into every single one, he's going to get countered, It's hard to call. It's really hard to call. I don't know where I'm going. Like I said, I want Valdez to win, but I have a feeling that Scott Quigg is going to land something big and just turn the fight around. Another reason why I'm not sure is because of the judges. If it goes to the scorecard and the fight is pretty close, I thought Valdez's last two fights were closer than what the judges said, especially the Mariaga fight. I thought the Mariaga fight, the scorecards were ridiculous. Like, they were extremely wide, like 118, 109, and something like that. So it's something crazy. Like, two of the judges had it extremely wide, and I didn't think it was that wide at all. It was a great fight, but I think Mariaga won a lot more rounds than the judges gave him credit for. All right, so I think if it does go to the scorecards, and I think if it's somewhat close, being that they're fighting in the StubHub Center, being that this is a top-ranked card, and Oscar is a top-ranked fighter, I think the judge is probably going to have a little bit more influence on him winning the fight, That's just my personal opinion. But, I think whatever, regardless of the way it goes, I think it's going to be a great fight, We can get a stoppage. We could possibly get a stoppage here. We could possibly get a good war all the way up into the scorecards, because if Scott Quigg is behind, expect him to step it up at some point. He's going to step it up, and he could be a slugger himself. But Oscar has just been fighting like that the last couple fights, I really don't know, man. But just, I made this video just to let you guys know, be on the lookout for this fight. It's this Saturday on ESPN. I think it's a toss-up, man. I think it's a toss-up. But I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Quigg actually pulled it off and won this fight, because I think he could take advantage of Oscar's poor defense, man. His poor defense. I don't know what's up with him. Like I say, he's on a decline, and then I think at some point, if it's not Scott Quigg, I think if he gets through Scott Quigg, at some point he's gonna fight a good boxer that's going to expose him. If he keeps fighting this way, he needs to go back to fighting that the other way. I want to see how you looked against Gradovich and Tamayo and Chris Avalos. I want to see that Oscar Valdez. I don't want to see this one where he's just slugging it out every fight. I mean, it's good for a good fight. It's fun to watch. But I personally liked how he was 2-3 years ago, Anyway, that's I really don't have a pick, man. I really can't call it. I just be tuned in to this fight. This could be a fight that could go either way. I'm rooting for Oscar, but I don't know, man. Quigg could win. Quigg might win this one. All right, so make sure you guys hit subscribe if you haven't already, and be on the lookout for another one. Did I do a Mikey Garcia fight? I gotta see if I didn't do one. If I didn't do a Mikey Garcia Olympians fight prediction yet, I'll probably upload that before the fight this weekend too. All right, but this is the fight. This is the real fight of the weekend, in my opinion. All right, so be on the lookout for that. Peace.